Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we are going over distributions from Harvest ETFs, Hamilton, Global X, and we'll also cover Evolve. Guys, as always, nothing here is financial advice. Please go ahead and smash that like button. I really appreciate it. So we finally have our distribution announcements from all of these ETF providers, and we'll start out here with the Harvest High Income Shares. And we'll just go through the list, you guys. I'll slowly scroll through. In case you hold any of these, you can just pause the video and take a look at the ones you want. I'm going to stop at a couple here. You can see here MSTY has a small gray arrow. They have reduced their distribution. Same with Coney, their distribution has gone down. We're going to stop here on HHIS. They're staying steady at that 27 cents per share. Really happy to see that. The share price has been moving a little bit down, but it hasn't been too bad. We're going to talk about HHIS a little bit later on in the video as well. But it's nice to see their steady distributions at 27 cents. We do have a distribution increase for AMDY. They're up to 95 cents per unit. We also have CNYE with a distribution decrease, and MSTE. This one's going to hurt if any of you guys hold MSTE. I know it was a pretty popular ETF, but it has dropped from 15 cents down to 10 cents per unit. So that's a 5-cent drop on MSTE. Anyone who's been following it, obviously, the share price has been getting rocked. Crypto has just not been doing the best. So that's a little bit disappointing, but we've got that dividend distribution decrease for MSTE. We have the Circle Enhanced High Income Shares. They have a distribution decrease, and then CrowdStrike with an increase. Everything else looks like business as usual. Here's some of the Canadian stuff here. HHIC down at the bottom, and they're still staying strong at that 20 cents per share. One thing that I will just mention is I've noticed, even though there's a few, like CrowdStrike has an increase and AMDY has an increase, there's been on the total, I feel like more of these ETFs have been having some decreases. So it'd be nice to see some more increases rather than decreases. But of course, we're going to let Harvest ETFs manage it the way they need to. And I'm just happy to see HHIS holding strong with that 27 cents distribution. Obviously, seems to be sustainable so far. Okay, so now we will jump into Evolve. Shout out to Evolve because they actually unveiled their distribution chart on June 17th. So this was already came out last week, so that was pretty nice. Now, Biggie is still paying that 31,250 distribution. I'm kind of surprised because their share price has absolutely been getting rocked. I know some people who hold Biggie have been pretty disappointed. So I was a little bit surprised they haven't cut it, but honestly, you guys, Biggie, I would not be shocked if they ended up reducing that dividend at some point. But for now, they're still paying that 31,250. We got Canny at 21, 6E at 21, Inti at 26, and the Evolve All-in-One Easy at 31. And I'll just scroll through the rest of them here, you guys, in case you hold any of these Evolve ETFs. You can just pause the screen or go and check this chart out on their website. So I do like that Evolve unveils their distributions a little bit early. It's kind of nice, but I'm going to do it all in the same video. And then big news out of Hamilton ETFs. This is actually some really good news here, you guys. We've got a couple of big dividend increases that we're going to cover. So here's their individual ETFs, but we've got the all-in-ones with HDIV at 1920. So HDIV has moved from 19 up to 1920, and then HYLD at 1620. So we've got just that extra 20 cents tacked on at the end, or the 0.20 at the end. So we've gone from 19 to 1920 and 16 to 1620 on HYLD. Very nice to see, even though it's just a small increase. It's just nice to have that continually notching up. This is the second month in a row, guys, for an increase on these two ETFs. So that is pretty awesome. Here's the rest of them, and then we'll get into the Daymax at the end here. You guys can check any of these ETFs out on the Hamilton ETF website. So we've got Q Day also with an increase up to 23. I believe their last distribution was 22.50. S Day, I think, has had it's either not changed or it was the same. I have to check. And then C Day has increased. I believe their last one was 1980 and they're gone up to 20.50. So I believe this is actually the first dividend for C Day that is over 20 cents per unit. These have all been declared today. Now let's jump into Global X. I have looked at these Global X ones. I don't believe there's been any changes at all on any of the most popular ones, but go ahead and leave me a comment, you guys, if there's any of these that you see that have really changed, because I couldn't see any. So we got the silver covered call ETFs. We've got BKCL, BKCC. Global X has quite a list, so I'm just going to kind of scroll through them, you guys. Feel free to pause the screen if you need to. I'll stop on some of the popular ones like ENCC and ENCL. These are the same. Nothing has changed there. Let's see what else we have here from Global X. For the most part, guys, nothing has changed. Everything has been business as usual for the dividends as far as I noticed. QQCC as well as QQCL are the same. So 31 cents for QQCL and 13 cents for QQCC. And we've got the silver miner. What else do we have here, you guys? We've got USCC 12 cents, USCL 23.5. So nothing changed there either. And then the Bitcoin ones, nothing has changed with those. BCC at 15 cents, BCCL at 17 cents, CMCL at 11.6, and the silver miners 12.5. All right, you guys, so that is Global X covered. And then one more thing I wanted to touch on just in regards to HHIS. This is their most recent holdings. So their AMD, which I do believe the AMD got an increase. Let me just go back and check on that, because that is HHIS's biggest holding right now. So yeah, AMDY. So they got an increase. So back to the active management on HHIS, I feel like they weight and balance this ETF to sustain that distribution. So, we've got AMD at the top, Broadcom in second, Apple, then Amazon, Alphabet, Nvidia, Eli Lilly, and then Tesla. And then we start to get those lower weightings now in the 5% range. Costco is actually under 5% now. Then at the very bottom, you guys, we've got this strategy and Coinbase. So they're kind of taking the winning ETFs, I feel, and placing them at the top to sustain those dividends, which I'm totally fine with. And that's active management from Harvest. And I'm happy to see that keeping this fund running smoothly. So I just thought I'd point that out. And then one other thing I'll quickly point out is I went to the Old Fish website. Shout out Old Fish. He has his own ETF analysis website here. Basically, I just plugged in HHIS against Biggie on the last year. And you guys can see here, the returns are not even close. The Biggie has just been getting destroyed with the share price. We got the final gain on HHIS. And then we've got the Biggie, and it's actually in the negatives, even with the drip. You guys can see here, negative 10%. So HHIS, I've been quite happy with. I feel like Biggie, it was a fund that I was close to jumping into. I'm kind of glad I didn't now, even though it has that large distribution. I do feel like that 31,250 is a bit steep for the share price of Biggie at this point. But anyways, you guys, just something I thought I would point out quickly. So that is the distributions for Harvest, Evolve, Hamilton, and Global X. Please go ahead, leave me a like, you guys, leave me a comment. And of course, the big news shout out to Hamilton ETFs for HDIV and HYLD with those dividend bumps. HDIV is now my top position and my number one holding. And I'm very, very happy that I made that change. Anyways, you guys, I hope everybody out there is having a great week. Leave me a like, leave me a comment, and I will catch everybody on the next video.